guys, how are you? Hope everybody's doing great today. As always, I'm here with the free-to-play Amius walkthroughs. I kind of I accidentally messed up my keys. Like I got like here and then I just went to normal and started doing it. So I don't really know what I was thinking. I think I thought the key was like there, but had to go a few beyond it. So after a day of fixing my keys, I am here. I'm a little excited about this team because there was a champion who I thought was really good for it, who I was excited to try, finally got him leveled, and it basically worked exactly as I hoped. So cool. Hope you guys have this champion. If not, hopefully we can work something out. So, as always, I completely recommend that you use a different team than me. I don't ever think that the team I'm using is the ideal team. My goal on the channel is always to show people that it's possible to beat the boss with free-to-play champions, epics, and then I'll always choose one legendary who's accessible to carry the Brimstone. But again, I suggest that you use better versions of champs wherever you have it. If you have 5 Legos, please go for it. If it would be a good team. Mine is basically just the framework for a team that could win. But like if we look at these champs, for example, if you have like, if you have Wall Master, that'd be amazing. I can see this working or this or that, there's all sorts of things you could use. So people have told me as well on this rotation, it's undead, so that makes sense. If you happen to have the Morrigan, that's basically a free win because she has an unremovable heal reduction. So you basically, as long as you have the required accuracy, you should just have heal reduction placed the entire time. I think that's the only person I need to shout out on this rotation that I don't have. But as always, please feel free to comment if you have any suggestions that other people could use that would help in their beating of the boss. So, okay, the champion that I was super excited about is Bowf the Rancid. I pulled a cool awakening for him. And I was like, is this champ any good? And then I looked at his kit and I was like, what? This champ is sick. So for Amius, so I did use him. UDK is my Brimstone carrier in this fight. Just try to get Brimstone on somebody if you can. I've said this a million times. I do not think the level of the awakenings is important at all. If you have a level 1 Brimstone, I don't think you're at any more of a disadvantage than someone with a level 5. Really doesn't matter. I use like level 1, 2 Brimstone all the time if you look through the old videos. Husk, we're basically, I just need somebody who does some damage. This guy is a max HP hitter, right? So that's fine. And then the strategy I'm using here as well is I'm using the taunt on Ambassador Lethelin to target the champion I want. In this case, I'm using our tanky friend UDK, but again, you might be using a different tank, so please, if you're going to use the taunt strategy, which again, no need to use my exact team. If you're going to do that, just make sure you've got a good taunt target. I'll show you why UDK is good throughout the video if you happen to have him. Mausoleum Mage, block debuffs, increased defense, cleanse, heal, very, very solid champ. He'll help us get through the stun. And honestly, if you're not using this epic on your account, I don't really know what you're doing with your life, because this is one of the best ones, was a hard carry on my account throughout the early game. So there you have it. Like we talked about, the fundamentals of champions that are good in this fight is basically not gonna die. So HP based, defense based, just tanky-ish champs. You don't want, that's kind of a bad example. You don't want this. You want this, right? So not gonna die, not a liability throughout the fight. Like basically, I don't really ever worry about any of these people dying. I don't even use a reviver because these people aren't gonna die. So that's what we're striving for. And then try to block the stun if you can. So like we've got Mausoleum Mage here. You know, a little bit of extra damage where you can get it, such as the max HP. And both the Rancid actually has heal reduction. So we're going to keep heal reduction applied throughout the entire fight. So very, very helpful. And he also has like a minor cleanse, a little bit of healing. So yeah, really cool kit. You know, kind of like one of those little bit of everything kits that we like to see. So as always, we will do a full walkthrough of the run. I'll explain every little thing I did, every decision, and why, and hopefully you can take this knowledge and apply it to your own run. So let's see what we've got here. All right, so we're in the fight. That's definitely step one. You want to hit start the fight and begin the battle. I'm manualing it. So first thing we're gonna do, as always, we'll kind of refresh your memory on the abilities. And if you haven't done so already, I completely recommend that you just go in and just read everything this guy does. Because, I mean, look at, I'm still scrolling. He has 2 forms, he has a ton of abilities, he has a bunch of like little inherent passives. There could be something in here that just isn't relevant to the team I used, so I'm not going to mention it. So I definitely recommend reading this. I mean, like, you know, obviously feel free to ask any questions, but I do tend to get a lot of questions about just sort of basic things that are, you know, right here in this information and are inherent to his kit, like the you know, not using skill cooldowns or not decreasing skill cooldowns, like the fact that he force switches forms on mythicals, etc. So definitely make sure you read through that. Okay, so first form, couple of things here. This ability, it's basically just a giant heal, and then it's also some AoE damage. So that's why we want to be survivable in the first place. He does have several AoE abilities that will continue to damage us throughout the fight. Second ability, AoE stun. And also, it's the debuff reversal move. He's going to take any debuffs that you place on him, and he's going to turn them into the positive buff. So, decreased defense, for example, he's going to turn that into increased defense. Decrease accuracy, he's going to turn that into increase accuracy. Weaken goes to strengthen, so on and so forth. So you do want to be a little bit careful about what you do in this first form before he's used that ability. But there are a couple of things with our methodology here. The first is that there are absolutely debuffs that he could reverse that I really don't care about. Like, for example, if he gets increased accuracy, I don't care. This dude already has 5 billion accuracy. This is not a resistance team. I don't care if he gets that at all. Maybe something like increased defense. Sometimes I'm using teams that are entirely like HP burn and brimstone focused, and I really don't care if he gets more defense because that's not the type of damage I'm doing. So just kind of keep all that in mind. There is one thing to be a little concerned about, and we'll go over that in a sec. So, okay, this is Bowf the Rancid, my new favorite epic champion, and he did place heal reduction. In a lot of runs, this would really concern me. I'd be like, okay, we obviously cannot have heal reduction here because he's going to turn it into continuous heal. And that does happen. But basically, what I'm going to do is, because this is my A1, I'm going to just allow him to get the continuous heal and just keep applying the heal reduction. So we'll see that in a second. And basically you want to lead with, you know, A1s where possible. I always say with your brimstone carrier, if you didn't place Brimstone turn 1, please just go ahead and restart it. This is literally millions of damage. You want to start yourself off on the right foot in the fight, and Brimstone is so key to apply here because he uses 2 back-to-back abilities, which means you're going to get the double proc, and it's going to be a huge chunk of his HP. So definitely do that. I always just restart until I get that little Brimstone proc. So let's take a look at everybody else. I am going to use the max HP on Husk. A lot of rotations, I advise that you guys wait to do damage until he uses the heal, which completely makes sense. But in this particular team, I am just perma applying heal reduction. So I don't care. Go all out, use that damage, go for it. And then with Mausoleum Mage, we're gonna want to put on the black debuffs so we can block the stun. And Ambassador Lethelin, we're just gonna A1 with that. And people ask me this a lot as well. How do you know what ability he's going to use? Basically, occasionally he might do something that I don't understand. But most of the time it's very predictable. If you place any reversible debuffs, he's gonna do it. He's going to reverse the debuffs. But if you don't, he would like to lead with the heal. So here, because I placed the heal reduction, I know this is what's coming out. And then, yep, A1 like we talked about, and there's the black debuffs. And so here he is with the stun. So there's the Brimstone proc. Like I said, you really don't want to miss out on that damage. We're already doing a big chunk of damage to him. And then, like I said, he does get 3 turns of continuous heal, but because I have heal reduction on Bowf's A1, like I said, I don't care. I'm crazy. I'll just keep applying the heal reduction. It's fine. So let's go ahead here. And then, yeah, like I said, I'll just apply it right again. That's fine. So, and again, because this is his A1, stuff on A1 is basically never 100% chance. You know, maybe you got unlucky there, maybe it didn't apply. That definitely could happen. It's Amius, it's the hardest boss in the game. It might take you a couple retries. That's okay. Just keep being patient with it. I think it took me like 2 or 3, but really was a pretty straightforward rotation with this. But yeah, so basically it's key to get it here, but beyond that you have leeway, right? Like you could be placing it every other turn instead of every turn. It's just that this one is kind of important because he removed the other heal reduction. So there's sort of like this one turn where you need to make sure you apply it. But okay, so let's continue on here. I want to do the A1 again. Nice thing about UDK, he also has decrease attack, but I want to wait to use this until this either says 1 or nothing, because that means he's going to go into the Eclipse form in the next turn. And that's when I want to use it, because he's going to immediately use big AoE abilities on us. So I want to make sure I have the decrease attack on him for that. And sorry, I'm still recovering from being sick. I'm kind of like, my voice is struggling a bit over here. But, okay, so yeah, save your decrease attack until 1 or 0. And then other thing to keep in mind, we always have to think about the 2 forms in combination with each other. So when he goes into the form 2, the first thing that he does is he takes all of your positive buffs and he turns them into the debuffs. A lot of reversal with this dude. So basically, just make sure that you don't have any lingering debuffs when he switches to the next form. And then something to be slightly careful about. Our new favorite epic, Bowf the Rancid, he does have a buff extension ability. So basically, just be careful about using that. It's probably fine to use like 90% of the time, but just make sure nothing's like lingering crazy long because of maybe like a lasting gifts proc, something like that. Just keep an eye on everything. So, okay, and then Husk, you can use whatever you want. A1s, no need to use the Mausoleum Mage heal and cleanse with no active debuffs and nobody weak. So, and then That was the ability that was supposed to be the giant heal, but we had the heal reduction on. The thing about this ability, it also reduces the duration of debuffs, so you can see he did remove the heal reduction again, but I don't really care. I'm just going right back in with both the Rancid, and I'm reapplying it. We're just gonna keep doing that throughout the fight. And again, I would never use a champion in this fight who isn't mastered. I think having War Master and some of the other ones are super, super helpful. So like on Bowf, I do have the extra 5% chance to place any of my debuffs. So I do feel like that is important. So we've reapplied our heal reduction. And then now, like I said, you can use the rats off. You can go ahead and apply the decreased attack. Husk, dude doesn't have a debuff, so we're just using whatever's up. Like I said, no need to use a Mausoleum Mage heal cleanse yet. We'll kind of save that till we need it. Using A1 on the ambassador. And here we are. We're going into the second form. And like I said, the first thing this guy does is he takes all of your buffs. He turns them into the negative debuffs. He places an unresistible sleep. And then he's going to smack you with a giant AoE ability. So I do see I had a couple of lingering buffs. What do we got? So this is going to be like decreased defense, decreased crit damage or crit rate, whatever that is. Honestly, don't even remember. So nothing too major. So like that's completely fine. Especially because I have not one, not two, but I actually have 3 people with the capability to cleanse. So I can get rid of those ugly decreased defenses if I want to. And then like we've been talking about, Bowf, his job, just keep applying that heal reduction, my dude. Need to just keep applying that because we've still got some lingering continuous heal. So keep up with that. And then, you know, if you're cool on your heal reduction, then you could use like your heal or cleanse, but his main job in the fight is the placement of the heal reduction. UDK, it's fine to use the shield, perfectly fine. No danger of getting reversed in this form, and also when going back into the other form. No worry of that. So totally cool to use some buffs here. A1s, let's A1 on, oh, I guess I'm going to use the heal. That's fine. If people are healthy, you can A1. If they're struggling a little, you can use the heal like I did. And okay, so Ambassador Lethelin. So like I said, I am going to taunt UDK. I know that he is tanky enough to withstand Amius's hits here, and that's all I really want. And then we're going to see, because of UDK's passive, he heals like crazy when we go into the next form, even though he takes a lot of damage here. So he's kind of getting a little sketchy, but that's okay. And like I said, both just keep refreshing the heal reduction duration if you can. Would have been nice to get a Brimstone proc there, but what are you going to do? Max HP hit coming out again with Husk. And we know the thing about this form is you go into the secondary form, the Eclipse form. He uses the unresistible sleep, the big smack, those abilities. And then he will take one turn where he uses the scary ignore defense ability. So he did that. And then that's all he does in this phase. That's it. If you survived that, you are good and you're going back to the first phase. So we're done with this phase. It's over. And now I'm just prepping to take us back into the next phase. So like I said, having buffs here, completely fine. I've just gone ahead and placed the block debuffs with Mauso Mage because I know the first thing he's going to do is probably try to, you know, reverse this heal reduction again. So that's fine. And, okay. So we're back in the next phase. Because of UDK's passive, he healed a ton. So that's awesome. So basically, yeah, if you have like a tanky UDK, it's not possible for him to die. In between these two forms, it's possible for him to die during the ignore defense, but if he survives, he should basically just get a big proc from his passive and be good. And so I see that let's take another look at it. So my guy here actually led with the heal. So that's fine. I don't care if you lead with this or this. No big deal. I was prepping for this, but this is fine. So basically, my heal reduction has already happened, right? We already decreased the heal, and he's going to go into this form. So that's fine. Whichever way it happens is fine. As long as we're just preventing that heal and doing our best with everything else, it's totally fine. So because I saw that the heal was already reduced, I don't really want to use my A1 here, right? Because I don't want to just give him a free reversal on it. So just remember, keep in mind the champs you have, respond to what's happening in the fight with what you've got. So like, I can tell this is not a good time to place another heal reduction. So I am going to go with the A2 instead. And then, like I said, if this dude gets increased accuracy, I don't really care. Does it matter if he has 1,000 accuracy or 500 or 1 million? Nah. None of my champs are resistance based. Whatever's happened with his accuracy is going to happen. I've made my peace with that. So, cool. We got a reapplied brimstone, proc, speaking hard. Do what you can with Husk, whatever you got. If people, again, you know, everybody's quite healthy, but Ambassador Lethelin does have that heal if you need it. I don't right now, so I'm not going to use it. And then, okay, that's the Rampant Chaos. That was the stun. He turned our decreased accuracy into increased accuracy. But again, I don't care. You can have all the accuracy in the world. It really doesn't matter with the team I'm using. And that's kind of nice, right? Sometimes, like, his abilities, I'm not using any buffs or debuffs where I really care about that. It looks like Ambassador got stunned. Just sort of a timing thing with the Mausoleum Mage. Black debuffs, because it's actually only one turn, because he's an epic. So yeah, you know, no big deal. He's stunned for one turn. And then, you know what? Whatever. I'm back on my game. We're back to placing the heal reduction. Let's get that going again. And then, like I said, remember, no decrease attack until you see a 1 or just a red bubble here indicating that it's going to be the next turn with UDK. So just A1 here. Whatever you got with Husk, A1 there. That's just his A1 in this form. It's an AoE. If you're not tanky enough, it can do quite a bit of damage, so be wary of that. If you have multiple decreased attack appliers, you could apply decreased attack before that. I prefer to do it, if I only have one like this, I prefer to do it going into the next form, but, you know, play it by ear based on what you've got. And then, yeah, I'm just back on my heal reduction game, I guess. And then, like I said, see a 1 here, now we can apply a decreased attack. Whatever you got there. And then, like we talked about, when we go into the Eclipse form, he's going to take all the buffs and he's going to turn them into the negative debuffs. So it would be a terrible time to use this ability, for example. So don't use that. I think I'm contemplating the heal. And then, yeah, I just said people are getting a little bit weak. Let's go ahead with the heal. Let's commit to the heal. A1 with the Ambassador. All right, here we go. Reversing our positive buffs. Looks like Bowf got a little buffy here. That's cool. But my first priority here, right? We need to make sure the heal reduction is on for the next phase. Because if you can place a 2-turn right here, you're good. You're good for the next phase. That's all you need to do. And you can get your guys like a little heal next turn, whatever. But first priority, I need to get the heal reduction, which I didn't. So good thing I went for it right there, just in case. You know, max HP with Husk, whatever you got. Save this for 1 turn, because remember, this turn needs to happen. Somebody's going to tank his A1, and then we're going back into the next phase. So I've still got 1 more turn on Mauso before I need to use the black debuffs in preparation. So just A1 there. Taunting UDK with Ambassador Lethelin. UDK is taking the hits once again. And then, like I said, heal reduction, that's my first priority here with both. So, got it there. Reapply the Brimstone, that's a nice little proc for me there. And then now, I'm going to do that. And then, you know, people are getting a little unhealthy just because the fight's been going on for a while. So you could use the Field Medic with Ambassador there. Big heal, completely blocked. We got the Brimstone proc. Awesome. There we go. And then again, I'm kind of in the same situation, right? I currently, I don't want to place another heal reduction because this is the only ability he has left. And it's the reversal one. So that would be a terrible time to apply the heal reduction. So I'm just going to go ahead with this one, you know, the decrease accuracy one again. A1 with UDK, A1 with Husk, because we got nothing better. A1, A1. There you go. We full blocked at that time. Again, he got increased accuracy, but this team does not care. You can have all the accuracy you want. Half your stuff's not resistible anyway. And then, boom, I'm right back into doing my due diligence of applying the heal reduction with both the Rancid. And you can see I also have the Mastery where I might get an extra turn on the debuff. So that's really helpful. Now I've got like 3 turns here where I don't really have to worry about it. But okay, and then yeah, we've got 1 turn before we're going into the Eclipse form. So decreased attack, apply that here if we can. A1 with Husk. Nobody's unhealthy, so I'm just going A1. You can also preserve that because it's a cleanse. So just in case, like we do have quite a few people getting their buffs reversed. So good thing I saved the Mausoleum Mage cleanse until right now. So yeah, kind of a lot of nasty debuffs there, but it's all good. It happens. Fight's almost over. I'm not worried about it. I'm considering this, and then I'm kind of just like, yeah, sure. And then UDK shield, that's fine to use. I just went A1 because I know this is like over soon, so I wasn't super concerned about getting everybody healthy. Plus I've got 1 more turn for that anyway. And then again, always make sure you've got Ambassador's Taunt here. Then there you go. There's the taunt hit. That's the A1. And then I'm just back to applying my heal reduction. The Brimstone proc, that's really nice. It's a great time for it because at this point I know that the second he goes into the next form, he did. Because he's going to use an ability, he's going to get the Brimstone proc, he's not going to be healing because look at what we've got here, and then he's going to die. So perfect, I've already won, I can tell, doesn't really matter what I do. But I'm just going to keep staying the course, you guys. I believe in the method. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the block debuffs Mauso Mage ability anyway, just in case. We'll do what we can with Husk. Top everybody off, because why not? There's the big heal. Very close to death. So he's going to die on this next ability, or we'll kill him in the interim, whatever. I went ahead with that one, I guess. A1, 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 A1. There's the second ability, there's the other Brimstone proc, and we are done. So, okay, there is all of your amazing Merciless and Supersonic gear with garbage rolls that you can just go ahead and sell, or, you know, attempt to quad roll the mythical stat and re-roll it, whatever, whatever you want. But all right, what do we got here? What does this scoreboard tell us about this fight? It tells us that Brimstone is OP because you don't typically see ultimate Deathknight doing 2 million damage. That's kind of a lot. And then like we said, his passive is insane with the healing. So he healed himself for 1 million damage. Slightly healed other people, I guess, with his one ability with the shield and heal. Husk over 1 million damage in max HP, so definitely, you know, if you can, have some kind of secondary damage dealer, max HP, HP burn, stuff like that, because the dude is so tanky that it's hard to hit him for a lot with, like, attack champ, you know, like, more of attack damage as opposed to like debuffs like Brimstone, HP burn, poison, stuff like that. Ambassador Lethelin. Taunting is super useful. A little bit of a cleanse, a little bit of a heal. Bowf, just keeping heal reduction applied the entire fight. And then a little bit of debuff cleansing and whatnot. Mauso Mage, Great champion with the block debuffs, the cleanse, the heal, always one of my faves. Used him many, many times in this fight. So already, there was our amazing scoreboard. And as always, I will show you guys the builds used in this fight. I always encourage this. I am not really like a gear swapper at all. Like if I ever show you a champ, that's just that champ's everyday average build. There is one exception in this fight though, which is the UDK, because typically I have him in, you know, some old like all res build. I haven't really updated it in years. Don't laugh at me for only having 635. So normally he'd be in something like that. Obviously that's way too slow for Amius. So he is basically, Molly Tankard was just like the first champ that came to mind for me just because I knew she had a lot of accuracy. So this was the build being used during that fight. Yeah. So just because, yeah, he was way too slow and probably was falling short on the accuracy. So yeah, something like that. I think I probably put like, he probably had like a banner maybe that added a bit more speed as well. But yeah, basically that was the build for that. And then who else do we have here? Where's my trusted epics? Okay, Mausoleum Mage. I just have him in a shield set because I used him like with Seer, you know, to get an extra buff there to be removed. Very old build, nothing spectacular. 241. HP defense is not amazing. You don't need any accuracy for that fight. His A1 places decreased speed. You can't place decreased speed on Amius. So cool. There's that. And then, like I said, I think mastering people in this fight is, I'm like teetering on the edge of saying necessary. It's probably not necessary, but I do think you're making it harder on yourself if you're not mastering these people. I think it's really useful. Get those War Master procs. It's max HP. It does a ton of damage versus a super, super HP heavy target like that. So there's the masteries on that. Oh, who else did we have? Ambassador Lethelin. He's an immunity set just because I had it lying around and I liked the numbers I saw, but that's, don't feel like that's necessary. It only matters for what, like 1 turn, 2 turns. He gets like a free block debuff, which I could give from Mauso Mage anyway. So no big deal here. Accuracy, don't care. I think he technically has, yeah, decreased crit rate, but again, I don't care if Amius has his crit rate decreased. I don't care if he gets increased crit rate on the reversal. I really don't care about any of that. And again, Masteries. There you go. All right, who else do we have? There's Bowf, my new favorite epic. Yay. Here he is. Like I said, I don't do anything crazy with my builds. It's just like some divine speed that was like lying around. Some accuracy that was like lying around. Some speed that was lying around, although this is kind of a good piece here. Accuracy banner for me on that one because these debuffs are important. And then just take up what will you can. And again, I find mastering people to be important. I want War Master procs. I want to increase the chances of placing heal reduction by 5%. I want to have a 30% chance to extend the duration of that heal reduction. Definitely, I think mastery is really important and helpful. There is Mr. Husk. And again, he's not placing any debuffs. This is just this straight up max HP hitter. Just somebody I chose to add a little more damage to that fight as opposed to just having the brimstone. So I haven't really used this guy in a long time. Might not be the most amazing build, but there you have it. HP champ, so I know he's not going to die. I know he can sit there and just do some damage, and that's important to us. The unfinished masteries, which is a staple of my account. I mean, what are you supposed to do? You can't extend the duration of provoke, so I don't know. We'll finish those eventually. Do I have one more person? No, that was everybody. UDK, Husk, Lethelin, Bowf, and Mausoleum Mage. So that is it for this hard rotation, you guys. As always, I will do both. I will do the normal rotation soon. I haven't even looked at it, but I've done all of them by now, so I would doubt it is anything. Yeah, no, this is easy rotation. So yeah, I would doubt it is anything crazy. You can look at my old videos if you need it like now, but I should post it in a few days. But okay, guys, as always, let me know if you got any questions or any, post what you used, suggestions to help other people that I may not have considered, and all of that good stuff. As always, I super duper appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the video. Hope it helped. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.